Hello, everyone. It's me, your favorite cartoon friend. And today, what's the episode about? Hold on, let me get the phone. I'll start calling my buddy here. Let's see what we got. All right, okay. Victor, pick up the phone. You never pick up the phone. So sick of your crap. Pick it up.
You have reached the Magician's Assistant. If this is the Enlightened one, today's episode is...
House of Horror.
The House of Horror? Is that a ride at like an amusement park?
Did he say was that an amusement park ride name?
It could be. I could see it being one of those little scary house things where you get in a little thing, it takes you around the track, and you're like, ah!
Yeah, but the thing is, with today's show, it is a House of Horror, but a very, very different kind. We'll just say that.
Yes, we're doing a true crime. We haven't done one in a while.
We haven't, and obviously, I've got to be honest. This is something I really, obviously, passionate at talking about because it's a serious case. We'll obviously get on to the main event, but before all that, we've got plenty of stuff to get through, right? Before we go there,
I want to do a little bit of a show and tell.
Oh, okay.
So, this right here, I just realized I've had this for a while. It's a tin can. It's from England.
Ooh, awesome.
It's a toffee tin, and it is the same one that is used in Shawshank Redemption, where the main character buries the money for his buddy in the case.
That's awesome. And how did you realize that that was obviously from Shawshank Redemption?
My roommate told me I didn't believe him, so I had to pause the movie that got to there, and then I looked into the case. I'm like, it's the same one.
We are, of course, joined by the JP, as always. Afternoon jabronis, or evening if you're in the UK.
Who are you calling a jabroni? You're not calling me a jabroni, are you? Are you calling him a jabroni?
We'll get the angles right one day.
You calling him a jabroni? You do that, you get one of them, right?
How's the week been, by the way? You had a good one?
It's so far so good. All good things come to those who wait. If you have a positive attitude and a positive mind, good things will come to you.
That is true. And obviously, I've had a busy week as well. Obviously, I did some charity work. So I did a lot of driving to obviously the Yorkshire Dales in the UK. Work as always, obviously on the Tuesday, Wednesday. I had an interview yesterday, obviously with Jess and Maria, and obviously today we're doing wrestling with the paranormal, or wrestling with the true crime story, if you want to call it that, for this today.
Yes, the last true crimes we did was actually the man who killed Halloween.
Were I part of that one? I can't remember that one.
No, it was before you joined the show. And I remember it just being so dark, talking about this guy who tried to kill his own son so he could collect the insurance money. And it almost destroyed Halloween altogether.
Wow. Okay, I need to go and check that one back because that sounds really, really freaky.
Yeah, he gave his son a pixie stick with cyanide in it.
What?
And they claim that they got it trick-or-treating.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, that just sounds horrible overall.
Yeah, it was a dark episode. And I think we got a bit of a dark cloud to go through in today's episode as well.
Yeah, so we will be honest. Obviously, we've got to be honest here. The main event will include, obviously, sensitive topics. So we have to obviously just let people know. Obviously, yeah, we're just going to let people know. We really care on this show.
Yes. So shall we get into one of our favorite segments on the show?
Of course. So let's get into your favorite segment and mine, which is, of course...
It looks like it's time to open up the vault.
Do you know the combination? So the weird thing is, as that video was playing, JP put this. Beats my razor blades and syringes in Tootsie Rolls.
The funny thing is, he doesn't give them out anyway. He just eats them himself. He gets off on that. Like,
Now, I wonder if JP actually knows the password for this. I know, obviously, you do. I do. We know Mr. Graham does.
JP, do you know the password for the vault? Let's see if you know the password. I don't think he does.
I don't. I'd be very surprised if he does. We haven't changed it for a while either.
No, I like that password.
It's very unique.
Yes. All right. Shall we watch the first video or whatever's in there? Let me see.
Hang on a second. I think no, he's actually guessed the password, but it may be wrong. Vertigo.
Nope, that's not. That's not it. It's
Okay.
It's something from Seinfeld. That's your hint.
Okay, so we'll play obviously the thing until he try and guesses. But yeah, let's get into the vault. So what's in the vault this week?
All right, let's grab in there. Hey, a penny.
Oh, hello. Hey, that's mine.
Lucky penny. All right, play the video.
Play the video. Okay, here we go. Okay, what we got here? This is the security camera footage. Wait, what the?
Yeah, it looks like there's little munchkins walking around.
Where the hell did they come from?
You can just see them walking back and forth, just like
What the?
it's like there's this. Hey, do you want to walk over here? No, let's go over here. Oh, you want to go over here? Okay, yeah.
Maybe they're leprechauns.
If you look, they're the size of the tire.
Yeah, that's. I need to watch that start again to see where they appear from because that's really creepy.
Yeah, they're just wandering. Or this is a doorbell footage, actually.
And do we know where this is obviously recorded from?
No, but it's someone's doorbell footage, and just these little creatures walking around.
Yeah, that is.
I was gonna say they could be like birds, but they don't look like birds.
Yeah, so do you want to watch it again?
Sure, one more time. Let's quickly just
There we
watch.
go. I'm just gonna see where they actually appear from.
It seems like they appear together at the same time, one on each side.
Did you see the obviously lights as well? Do you know literally shoots up as they appeared?
I did see that.
That is. I only noticed it the second
There
time.
are little shadows underneath them too.
Yeah, it's really weird. I noticed it the second time, not the first time. Do you know with the lights?
Yeah.
I can't get my head around it. They just appear, and it really freaks me out. This type of stuff.
I can picture them just like, hey, what are you doing? Oh, I'm over here. Where's the lollipop kids?
Maybe they're the kids of the Enlightened one.
Hey, don't mess around.
JP says Junior Mints ?
No, it is not Junior Mints.
And he also says, I know those are nibblers from Futurama.
They do kind of look like Nibbler.
Yeah, that.
Here's another hint, JP. If you can get this, it's
Okay.
Something George Costanza would say.
Okay, so that's another little clue. Yeah, anything else in the vault?
All right, let me look here. Oh, a nickel this time. Okay, we're raising up. Okay. All right, let's play it. Okay, check this out. There's this manhole that is just popping up and down by itself.
What the?
Like a manhole weighs a lot.
Yeah, exactly. They do. So what the hell is going off there? Maybe it's like a pressure point from under, the ground. Because I know.
Yeah, but imagine how much pressure you'd have to be to blow that. Like those are heavy.
But here's the thing as well. Obviously, we know ghosts have to be really strong to push them as strong as that.
So it could be just this giant pressure. Scientifically, let's think about this. Could there be some sort of gas leak or something that's just like is pushing it up?
JP says that's sewer gases. It happens all the time in Boston.
Like enough to knock up the manholes.
I've never known that. That's obviously something new to me, and it's really weird. I mean,
like there you got some lot of gas coming up there.
Yeah, there's got
pop
to be.
off. Like those manholes are not light.
They've got to be really, really, strong gases for that. JP says, "Yep."
Oh wow,
So JP's basically debunked one of our videos.
that's okay. That's okay. They're not all going to be paranormal, but they are strange. Like I've never seen it before. You never seen it before, so now we know.
No, so thank you, JP, for obviously clarifying that. I do believe you've got something else in the vault.
Yes, I also got a quarter. Oh, rich. Let's see what, and I got a picture here. So this is taken from a girl. She was just getting home from a party, and she was going to check her email before she went to bed, and this appeared on the camera.
Now, have you noticed this? Now you can see a lot of, actual features sticking out, like
Yes, it looks like it looks like a woman, and they're holding something.
like a bagger type thing. Do you see that?
Yeah.
So I see.
Looks like a championship belt is over their shoulder.
If you notice, obviously you see the hair on obviously the one side. You see the bag type thing there. And I don't know if you can make out what she's actually wearing there. Can you?
It looks like blue pants with could be possibly a hoodie.
Possibly. I mean, who knows?
But yeah, that's creepy.
And I'm sorry, JP's just kind of thrown me off with this comment. It says, "It's weird. I thought that alligators were crawling out of the manholes."
I guess that's the first time he saw it himself.
Yeah, but that image there, it's. Do you know when you see images like that with really dark figure type things, it makes you really cold. What about you?
Yeah, it just gives me the heebie-jeebies as well. Like, how many times have we been watched while we're doing a podcast?
Oh, yeah, I can imagine we've watched it loads. I mean, I've always been told there's a lot of stuff out there we don't know.
Oh, absolutely. And I guess that concludes the vault. We can shut it down.
Okay.
We can, I'm going to tell you what the passcode is, Jeff B. I'm going to tell you what it is.
Okay.
So next time when we ask you what it is, you'll know. So Jeff B, the password is Bosco.
And Joseph Graham is stopping by as always. What's going on?
What is going on, my man?
So before we obviously get into the Galaxy news, I mean, are we going to do the new thing after the Galaxy intro, or?
Yeah, let's just do the intro. Everyone put on your seatbelts because we're going all the way around the effing galaxy.
And we're
This is your captain speaking. Sorry about leaving the door open as I took off. I realized I lost a few passengers there. Don't worry, they're probably going to heaven.
JB says there's a ton of things we will never understand. That is very, very true. And he also said, "Damn it, Bosco." So the good thing is about today, we've got to say thank you to a new sponsor, which we obviously Aaron and Canada Dry. Sorry, you've been working very hard on. Do you want to tell people about it?
Yeah, so this is FTW Wrestling, Fight the World Wrestling, and you can start training today and become a wrestler today. So this is Brian Idol's wrestling school, and Natalia Markova works for him. So you can train under Natalia Markova and become a wrestler.
How cool is that, by the way?
It's amazing. So if you want to become a wrestler and you want to go to Florida, it's only $250 a month.
There you go. We get to basically be trained by two of the best people who we obviously are very big fans of.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we're getting closer to having them on the rest of the Paranormal every day.
Maybe I often wonder. Do you think obviously these two are a fan of the paranormal stuff?
I've talked to Natalia a couple times about that. I don't think so.
Worth a shot, weren't it? I suppose.
Yeah.
So yeah, obviously, this Galaxy News is obviously about where we take it a deep dive into the wrestling news. We've been all the way around, and there's some great big stars. I'm excited to get your thoughts on some of these. So first one I've got is Billy Corgan teased upcoming and streaming announcement for NWA. We've obviously spoke about this a few times that when for NWA to go to the next step, they need this TV deal, but apparently he's obviously been talking to a lot of people, but what's your thoughts on this? Because I know you're a big fan of the
Did you say
NWA.
streaming deal or TV deal?
TV and streaming.
Oh, yeah. Who knows? Like, I hope that would be great. Like, got to get the eyes on it, right?
Yep, that is true.
It's also about the money. Like, you get money when you get a TV deal.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, I mean, we obviously I've tuned into the product a few times, and the product is really, really great. And what frustrates me a lot is, and I'm not talking obviously NWA, I'm talking MLW as well, is the product is so great, but it feels like the platforms they're on, it just doesn't. It's kind of sad, because I feel like they should get more eyes on them.
Yeah, I feel like it needs. And then we took a big setback after COVID.
Yep.
Like, they took a hit. Like, the quality of their show has gone down.
Yep.
But I feel they still have a lot of talent there.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you've got some great names there, obviously, talent. I mean, there's too many to even name off.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but the thing is, obviously, the good thing is it's in the right direction, because we know, obviously, as wrestling fans, streaming is the big thing these days.
Oh, yeah. If they could get on some sort of streaming deal, even if it was Tubi or Pluto TV, it would still be better than just YouTube.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, JP says, as long as the NWA isn't on Vice, it should be okay. I mean,
Yeah, because Vice is bankruptcy.
Oh, okay. Joseph Graham says they definitely need to be on TV. A streaming or only service won't help. So, yeah, I mean that's the key
Well,
thing.
it depends what the service is. If you're on Netflix or Prime, I think it's just as good as being on regular television.
Yeah, I think it's exciting news, obviously, for the NWA, because I feel like wrestling's obviously evolving as always. Obviously, WWE is obviously the number one. As much as we hate to admit that as fans, AEW is obviously putting out more content. So I feel like they need to take that next step.
Speaking of that, do you think that AEW will eventually have to go head to head on a Monday and a Friday night with WWE?
I mean, the problem you've got is you've got Tuesday, you've obviously got AEW Dark. Wednesday, you've got Dynamite. Thursday, I don't know. I mean, I would like.
I don't mean a new show. I'm meaning moving maybe Collision and Dynamite to Monday or Friday.
I would keep Dynamite on Wednesday. I feel like possibly putting Collision up against SmackDown, because I feel like the problem is, have you seen the obviously numbers for Collision for the past 3 weeks? They've actually, dropped. And I'm not saying that's their fault, but it's more. I think
it's also when you're starting a show.
Yeah.
In the summer, it's harder to start a new show than it is in the fall.
Yeah, I mean, but the problem is, I mean, I've watched AEW Collision. I feel like the product is really, really great. I mean, it's something different. It's something that we're not used to seeing from AEW. So I think the key thing would be obviously to get on a different day, and I think Friday.
I think going head to head with WWE is inevitable. You can't avoid that forever.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, everybody remembers the Wednesday Night Wars with NXT and obviously what happened there. But
well, do you remember what? But it's also when you're doing it. Do you remember when TNA decided to go against WWE? It lasted like a couple weeks.
Yeah, because I remember Eric Bischoff talking about the actual, numbers, and they were terrible. Side by side.
Yeah, their numbers had dropped like quite a lot.
So I've actually got a follow-up question for that. Do you think fans look too much into numbers, when it comes to wrestling?
I don't think ratings matters as much at all.
Okay.
That sponsorship stuff, like
Yeah.
that's executives worrying about how much money they're getting in ad revenue.
Okay.
Why should we care?
Yeah, I mean, it's a fair point. Noob says AEW ratings equals definitely so many different faces. Joseph Graham said
I
this.
think Noob is against AEW now.
Oh dear. Joseph Graham said this past week isn't a true indication for numbers as it was the July 4th weekend. That is true. And he also went on to say, yeah, fans look way too into it. I have to agree. I fully agree. I think fans look way too into it.
Well, before AEW came along, the only time people even cared about ratings was WCW versus WWE.
Yeah, and I think the key thing is obviously WWE's not had any competition in a sense. We obviously Impact
the
tried
only
it.
people that cared about ratings on that TNA one was TNA. WWE didn't care.
No. If you look at the actual breakdown of the numbers, they were absolutely awful. I mean, whoever made that decision to go head to head with WWE was ridiculous. You know what I mean? Because the product was good, but it just wasn't good enough to go head to head.
And then you could move Rampage to Saturday, right?
I think that'd be more, suitable.
Kind of like it would be more like the Saturday night WCW shows.
Exactly. Do you know what I mean? I mean, like I said, we don't make these calls. We just have to, see what happens.
All right. What else we got there?
So Thunder Rosa's obviously apparently due to come back anytime soon. We're talking 4 to 6 weeks. We know obviously everything what's going on behind the scenes with Thunder Rosa, but overall, are we excited for her to be back or coming back?
I want to see what's going on with her. I want to know if she's a heel or a face.
What do we think?
I think she should be a heel.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate that. And
you can do way more as a heel than you can with a face. And I think the fans need to just embrace the hate on Thunder Rosa and not like as if you're, I think it's harder for her to get over as a babyface.
Yeah, that is true. And obviously, apparently, she's going to be exclusive to AEW Collision. Do you think that's best suited, or do you think this is just? I'm not too sure.
I think that's fine. I think having certain people over on Collision, certain people on Dynamite, it's perfect.
Yeah, the one thing I like is obviously with Collision now is you've got extra 2 hours, so we can put more wrestlers on, and we don't see week to week because I feel like that was the biggest issue. We said that there's so much talent, but we don't get to see them all.
The last Dynamite and the last Collision.
Yep.
They flew by. They just went. That episode seemed like they were gone.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know if it's just they flew really well.
Joseph Graham says Thunder Rosa as a heel versus Sky Blue would do wonders. Yeah, I mean, I'm not against that.
I want to see a Sky Blue heel turn.
I don't think that would work. I feel like she's too lovable with the crowd, personally.
Not right away, but eventually.
Possibly.
Because that's when you can really get over.
Yeah, but I feel like at the minute...
Because, like, as a face, there's only so far she can go. But once they see her as all these different, being a baddie, and then she can go back to a face, and she'll be to the next echelon.
I mean, that's a possibility. Noob also says Thunder Rosa should be a heel because it would be awesome what a heel Thunder Rosa should look like.
I mean, we haven't seen her as a heel yet.
That is true. So, I mean, stay tuned with that. I mean, I'm not against that idea. I kind of like it, if I'm being honest.
Do you like Natalia Markova as a heel or a face?
I mean, she can make both work. So, I mean, you're getting Natalia Markova regardless. What can we say?
I think she can do either, really. But I think she's just too lovable of a person right now to be a heel.
Oh, absolutely. JP says heel Rosa will be different. So see, we've got 3 people in the comments, and they're all saying, "Yeah, I mean heel Rosa." Stay tuned.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So is she going to be on Collision this week?
No, so apparently she's due back in 4 to 6 weeks, so she may make a few appearances.
Oh, okay. I hope she at least comes on commentary or something for like one segment or something.
Well, apparently she's been doing this Spanish commentary for Collision, I believe.
That's true, but I want to see her on TV.
Well, stay tuned. We never actually know what's lined up. We know it's Tony Khan. We never know. Do you know?
We never know.
We never know. So next story I've got is apparently Kevin Owens was a little bit unhappy not being in the Money in the Bank. I mean, to be honest, does he really need the Money in the Bank thing at the moment?
Kevin Owens wasn't on the pay-per-view.
No, exactly. Even neither was Sami Zayn.
So not necessarily, he didn't need to be in the Money in the Bank match.
Mm-hmm.
But they're your tag team champions.
Exactly. There was a few wrestlers on the card. Obviously were on the actual picture, like the wallpaper, but there wasn't on the card. And I'm like, this is confusing. I kind of hate this.
Yeah, they should have defended the tag belts. It would have been easy. You could have put them against the Viking Raiders. Even on a tag match, that would have been perfect.
Like even on a pre-show match, you know what I mean?
Yeah. They could have fit them in. They're your tag champs.
Noob says KO and Sammy was in the Skybox last weekend. I get that, but I feel like they should have been on the actual card.
Who would you put them against on Money in the Bank?
I mean, when it comes to tag teams, it's got to be the Viking Raiders because that's the only tag team I can think of.
Yeah. Yeah. They're really short on tag teams on the main roster, aren't they?
Yeah, this is what frustrates me. We obviously WWE product as a whole is there's not many tag teams. So when they've got a tag team champions, I'm like, what's the point? Because do you know what I mean? You've not got.
Yeah, you got Montez Ford and Dawkins.
Yep.
You got the Viking Raiders.
Yep.
You got Otis and his buddy Shorty G.
Nearly forgot his name, didn't you?
I did. I was like, what's his name? It's Chad Gable.
Joseph Graham says you could have done the match for the night before KO and Sammy versus Pretty Deadly. I mean, I almost forgot about them. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, that would have been better. They could have had singles matches for the month with Pretty Deadly the night before, and then you have the tag team title match.
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, it's just one of those things, but we don't make the rules as we always say. So we've got 2 more stories left, and this has obviously come across my attention. It's obviously something you put.
That's me.
That's what you put about Kota Ibushi.
I don't know who that schmuck is. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, so Fightful is saying that Kota Ibushi is planned to appear at Blood and Guts. Most of the talent Fightful has spoke to believe he's going to join AEW in some capacity, and Ibushi's management has reduced his schedule for the near future.
So this has obviously been rumored for a while that he's going to AEW. So are we excited for this? Because I am.
I am, but what some people are saying he might not be part of the Elite.
Interesting. So how do you bring him in?
Don Callis family.
Is this going to be another like NWO where there's like 20,000 people in the group?
Well, no, and the family is not part of the BCC.
Okay.
They're just the hitmen.
Right. Okay, I'm following.
Yeah. So if you watch Dynamite, they were trying to recruit Chris Jericho for the Don Callis family. Jericho did a face turn, what it appeared like. And he was loving on Sami Zayn and Daniel Garcia, saying, "Go be free. Win the titles. You can do it without me."
JP says, I'll put when he shows up, but I'm not holding my breath. So JP's not confident with this one.
Yeah, it's hard to say if he's actually going to be for that event.
Yeah, I want it to be obviously Kota Ibushi because I'm a big fan of obviously his work. Obviously, it's well documented what happened with New Japan. So if he doesn't go to AEW, what's the other options really?
I think he will be part of AEW.
Mm-hmm.
It's a matter of time. So if it's not Blood and Guts, maybe it's all in, maybe it's all out.
Or both. Are we all right there? Sorry, the car thing kind of put me off.
Yeah, there's this big dump truck driving by.
Yeah, stay tuned for this one. I feel like it might show up at Blood and Guts, but I've got to be honest, I'm not too sure when. This is one where I can't make a judgment where he's going to show up.
And so if Kota Ibushi
Mm-hmm.
joined the Don Callis family, Chris Jericho would join the Elite.
Ooh, never say never, right?
I feel either way, Chris Jericho will be part of Blood and Guts.
Yeah, there's so much like twists and turns you could go with this. So
let me ask you this, Liam.
Okay.
Do you think Chris Jericho's career is winding down?
The way I look at it is more what's Chris Jericho got to prove or what to achieve. The guy's achieved so much during the ring. He's obviously well knowledged. I feel like even if he does step back from the ring, I feel like he'll help AEW more behind the scenes.
Oh, he's got a really good creative mind. And I think he doesn't need to wrestle to give back to wrestling.
No, not at all. And I feel like I said, is there any matches? Obviously, looking at the roster, we would like to see him against. He's pretty much done it all.
I was hoping for a retirement match with him and Sting.
Yeah, that is a possibility.
Do you know what you could do? You could set up retirement versus retirement.
Yeah.
Because that way, you're retiring Sting, but you're teasing the end of Chris Jericho's career.
Yeah, and the one thing I like about this is obviously Sting said, obviously on a previous, Dynamite, is Sting's about to, it's about to end, but it's like, I like the fact that he's going out on his own terms.
Yeah, jumping off of tables and ladders.
Yeah, doing some stupid shit.
Darby Allin said that that was all Sting's idea.
He's like PCO in a way.
He's like, don't blame me that this guy's jumping up. Don't blame me. I'm not a bad influence.
But the guy's an absolute icon. What can we said pretty much everything about Sting, but he knows himself when it's time for a retire. Same with Chris Jericho.
Yeah, I think that when AEW does have a Hall of Fame, I think both of them will be in it.
Yeah, JP says that would be an awesome way to go out, but I don't know if Sting's last opponent should be Jericho. I would like to see. These cars are putting me off. I don't know. I can't hardly pick an opponent for Sting because it's like.
You've got the earphones in your ear, so you're hearing it even louder.
That is true. The only person I can think of is actually Chris Jericho. So, who else is
Darby
there?
Allin, Goldberg.
Let's move along, shall we?
And a boot to the face ends his career and nearly his life.
Okay, let's move along, shall we? I've got one more story to cover, and it's probably one I'm sure you're a big fan of, which is this.
You want to read that out?
Of course. So it says, I don't think it's impossible to think that 5 years later at WrestleMania, Brett versus Adrian Adonis, I would have given everything to have Adrian Adonis waiting in the ring for me, and that's from Bret Hart himself.
And that's, I believe that's a quote from the upcoming Dark Side of the Ring episode. I could have seen Adrian coming back to WWE and getting a match with Bret Hart.
Yeah, obviously I'm not highly knowledgeable when it comes to Adonis, but it should have been a good match to see.
Yeah, and Adrian had lost some weight
Mm-hmm.
before he had died, and he was getting ready to go back to New Japan.
Okay.
So,
Is that a plane?
pardon me?
Was that a plane? Sorry, I'm
Yes,
listening.
there's a plane flying above us now. We got trucks, we got cars, we got planes.
We've got everything today on this show, and yeah, I mean, Brett's obviously Brett. I mean, like I said, I cannot wait for this Dark Side of the Ring episode to learn more about Adrian
Yeah,
himself.
we're going to be doing an after show right here on the channel. Myself and Jeff B will be doing an after show. Just these nice little sound effects.
That's brilliant. When does that show actually air? I've not actually seen when it
That
airs.
is next Tuesday. And so we'll be doing, as soon as it's over, we're going to be, me, Jeff B, and maybe someone else will be popping on to talk about it.
There you go. So that's something exciting to look for. So that wraps up the Galaxy News.
Yes, it does.
So shall we get into why we're actually here? Shall we get into the main?
Well, I thought you were going to do a bullet truth.
I think we're already. We can say that to next week. Let's keep going.
Okay. I guess we can talk about our sponsor.
Of course, which is probably one of our favorite, which is Dubby. Now, the good thing about this Dubby is there's no artificial colorings. There's no. I can never say that word.
Malodextrins. There's no malodextrins.
There's absolutely. It's like an energy drink, but not an energy drink.
Yes, it's a little bit cleaner. It doesn't hurt your body as much with all those chemicals. There's no dyes. There's no sugars. And for that reason, there's no jitters.
There you go.
So use code FINWrestling and get 10%, not on just the one order, on your whole order. So the more you buy, the more you save. And
there you go. So head to www.w.gg, enter the promo code FINWrestling for 10% off. That will tell them guys that we sent you.
Yes. And someone pull up the TV.
Because it's time for, as your favorite segment and mine, and it's, of course,
Story time!
that laugh is always weird every single time.
Yes. So this is something that you're really familiar with.
I am. So this is obviously a story obviously I've listened to many, many times. So it's, of course, the House of Horrors, the Turpin story. Now, is this the first time you've seen this?
I remember reading. I think we did a picture in the vault.
Okay.
With one of the Turpin family's children.
Yep.
And it was just creepy because the picture was like these people are all like abused and whatnot.
Yeah, so obviously we decided to obviously talk about this story. So I'm just going to emphasize again is in this main there will be obviously talking points which some people might not be comfortable with. So we just want to warn you there. But yeah, I mean, this is the story. This is everything. And I've got to be honest, I agree with Kind of Dry earlier. This is probably one of the most emotional stories I've ever, encountered.
Yeah, I got choked up when I was doing some research for this, and I was just like, it hits me in the feels. So we'll get right into it. This isn't even that long ago that this became prominent. It was January 14th, 2018. And there was a daring escape. 5:49 a.m. on Sunday morning, Jordan Turpin slipped open the window of her family home, and she escaped. Now, she had with her a deactivated cell phone that her mother had given her for emergencies. You could call 911. I don't know. Maybe she stole it. Actually, I think she probably stole it.
It was a deactivated phone, so
Yeah, it's a deactivated phone. So that was really smart of her to grab this phone, to know that she could still call 911.
Because that's the only number she needed at the moment.
Yeah, that's all you need. Call 911. She was only 17 years old, and she'd never talked to anyone in her life other than her own family. So as she got her hand was kind of jittering from like being out on the street and being on her own. And as she's making the call, she calls 911, and she didn't know what to say and how to bring it all up. So she figured that she'd start with the truth. I've run away from a home, and ordinarily you think like they're running away from home. This is just something where the kid needs to go home and be back with his family. But this wasn't the case. As Jordan starts to explain to the 911 operator that she got free and ran away from her home because her two little sisters were chained to the bed, and she couldn't bear it anymore, and their pain was just so overwhelming.
Yep.
And so as the 911 operator began talking with her and asking her questions, she really became aware of the lack of knowledge that Jordan has, because she asked her something like, are you on any medications? And she didn't know what that was, because they kept the children in the dark and uneducated.
This is kind of sad, though, when you think about when you're talking about a 17-year-old who doesn't know what medication is.
Yeah. And so they quickly dispatched. They got the police on the phone with her, and they told her that they're going to get her picked up by Deputy Anthony Coles.
Yep.
And as Deputy Anthony Coles met her at the stop sign, he saw this shriveled, pale, malnourished, disheveled looking girl.
Yep.
And I imagine that she was really nervous.
Yep.
To talk to the policeman, because there was one point where one of their brothers or one of their sisters had escaped.
Yep.
And the police returned her
So
back to the home.
Yep. So to expand on obviously what you've just said, there is she was so damaged, obviously with everything that went off, that they actually thought she had special needs. That's how damaged she was.
They thought that she was she had maybe a Down syndrome or some sort of other mental illness. So Deputy Coles arrived and just simply asked, "How can I help you?" And was very kind and was very, very non-confrontational, which was what she needed at the moment. And he was amazed at her broken English and how she kind of sounded like a very, very, instead of a 17-year-old teenage girl, she sounded like a child.
Yep.
And she told him her younger sisters were chained to their beds because the punishment was because they'd stolen food.
Yep.
So they're chained to their bed as punishment. And Deputy Anthony Coles was horrified.
Yep.
And he brought Jordan to safety right away and called for backup. And at 7:23 a.m. on January 14, 2018, a team of police officers surrounded the Turpin house in Paris, California. Now, this house, from the outside, it didn't look like a house of horrors.
Nope.
It had flowers. It had like, those little ornaments in the garden and whatnot. Just looked like your average nice little home, like every other house on the block. And so the police knocked on the door, and there was no answer.
Yep.
And they knocked again, and I guess David and Louise Turpin had been looking out and seeing that the police were there, and I guess we got our answer. And so when they came, they asked, "You have a search warrant?" And the police quickly responded, "We do not need a search warrant when there's the welfare of children involved."
So I didn't actually know this. This is obviously the law from obviously in the US, which something I learned.
Yeah, I believe it's in Canada as well. If there's concerns about children being harmed or being neglected, or the police can come in with due cause to check on the children.
Right. Okay. So, but please continue.
So they said we don't need a search warrant. They came in the house, and immediately it stank of garbage and human waste in the home.
Yep.
Now they went in the rooms, and they saw the bunk beds. Let's show the picture of the bunk beds. Now this is a nice picture of the bunk beds because they were soiled.
You can probably see in the back corner a little bit of a soil in there.
Yeah. These so they saw some kids in there, and everyone kind of came out when the police came in the room. They're all coming out. They're disheveled. They got dirt in their hair, dirt on their face, and they're wearing these old rags. The police then go into the room where the two girls were chained up. They were no longer chained up, conveniently, but they had bruises on their arms and their legs from where the shackles were.
Yep.
And as they're looking around, they come across a third bedroom that is by the entrance. And they open the door. They see three boys in there. And one of the boys is shackled with his arms and his legs to the top bunk.
Yep.
And this is all the police needed as evidence.
Decades.
And they arrested David and Louis Turpin on child endangerment causes right away. The one thing that I noted from this was that 7 of the malnourished children were actually adults. Like that. How badly malnourished do you have to be to look like a freaking kid?
Yep. Now, if I remember rightly, what was the oldest one? How old was it? The oldest?
The oldest one was 29.
There you go.
So that's Jennifer. Now, all the kids and the 7 adults were hospitalized and taken care of. And but they were free of their parents now.
Yep.
So that's the good thing. And surprisingly, they were very, very positive, despite the lack of nutrients that caused stunted growth. There was nerve damage. the healthcare officials were horrified at what they saw. The muscle atrophy caused some of them to have struggle walking.
That's the sad part.
Yeah, one preteen's arms, one of the I think it's a girl, or I'm not sure, but one of the preteen's arms were the same as a 4-month-old baby's. Like, imagine that.
Yeah.
But yeah, as I just previously mentioned, they were extremely positive. Like, they were being treated with kindness for the first time in their life. Like, just imagine, like, all these people like offering you some food, and when you were denied food, and someone's just freely giving it to you. That would be like gold.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean I can eat this? Like, I think I seen a commercial for a hamburger once.
Yeah, that's only half of the story at the moment.
Oh yeah. So yeah, this is really a heartbreaking story, and the news broke internationally, and what they wanted to know was, how could somebody do this to their own children? And we're going to talk a bit about that. What built the House of Horrors?
Mm-hmm.
So Lois Turpin, formerly Robinot, she started out as a good Christian girl. She would go to church and Bible study, but there was a darkness in her Robinson family. The grandfather sexually abused her and her sisters. So she was rescued from that when she met David. Now, David was this nerdy kid with a bowl cut, and very, very smart.
Yep.
So he was studying to be an engineer, and I think engineers make some good money, I think.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So they were married February 11th, 1985.
Yep.
And it wasn't soon after. Oh yeah, then they moved to Fort Worth, Texas, where David got a job as an engineer, and that's where Lois gave birth to her daughter Jennifer. Now, it wasn't just Lois's background that was bad, because they're already starting it off with like she's been abused.
Mm-hmm.
So David had a horrible, awful temper. And Jennifer would say that she remembers her dad yelling at her mom and punching a hole in the wall.
How sad is actually that a young kid, that's the first memory they have?
Yeah, but that's not even the worst one. That's like, that was back in the good old days when he only yelled at my mom.
No, but you get what I'm saying, though. That's the first memory as a kid.
Yeah, absolutely. So when David would yell at Lois, it caused Lois to now take out her frustrations on the kids, because it's just the pecking order. He's mean to her, she's mean to them, and now at this point they have 4 kids, and they're all taking the abuse of Lois. But the thing about it is that they both openly expressed their love for one another, David and Lois. But it was a weird, toxic, codependent love. And this is at their home in Fort Worth, Texas. When they moved out, the landlord said that the home was left in just a disgusting squalor.
Yep.
Like the carpets were crusty with weird stains and stuff all over the wall, and just just really disgusting. Um, the oldest daughter made it to grade 3, and she was getting bullied at school because she wore the same disgusting blue dress to school every day,
Mm-hmm.
and she was dirty and smelled because the parents didn't dress them up properly. So this led to, I guess they began to worry about what officials might say.
Mm-hmm. But apparently there was no report, obviously, what the same girl coming with the same dress.
Yeah, that was the odd thing, is that um, the bullying of the child should have kind of put attention on the kid, but it didn't.
Yep.
Like, they're bullying because she smells and she wears the same old dress to school every day. Maybe we should look into this.
Yeah,
but they didn't. And you got to wonder if somebody said something, like to them, maybe they thought maybe we should just kind of homeschool them.
Yep.
So, they then, and no Turpins ever went to public school again after that. The abuse escalated in 1999 when they moved to Rio Vista, Texas.
Yep.
They had lots of land there, and they were Pentecostal church members, and they declared God wanted them to have as many children as possible.
So I obviously wanted to talk to you about this because, I mean, I've openly said that I'm not a religious person. I've openly admitted that. But what's your thoughts being obviously a religious person and they're technically abusing the Bible in a way with this?
Oh, it's absolutely, God, you can't fool God.
Mm-hmm.
So when you abuse what God is intending for one thing and you twist it to use it against as an evil purpose, there's hell to pay for stuff like that.
Yep.
Like turning what is meant for good and making it evil.
Yeah, this obviously when I read the story, this is something I wanted to obviously discuss with you. So,
but yeah, they were big church members, and so they grew here in Rio Vista, Texas. They grew to 12 children, 12 kids.
mm-hmm.
But the more kids they had, the abuse would start to go up higher and higher. They would still take them out on outings. Like, I think we got a picture here of them on an outing. They would dress them like, how cute does that look?
It looks very cute, but it's now we know the backstory. It comes across as really weird.
Yeah, for sure. Like, but if you saw that, you would just think that's really cute. Like,
no, absolutely. I think I fully agree totally. Looking at that image, it looked like a big happy family, but as we now know, there wasn't.
Yeah. So he was also posting pictures on Facebook of all these good things. Like, he would dress them up nicely for outings, and then he would post these things to Facebook, and people, like, to the outer people, they looked cute and wonderful. And he took them out to Disneyland even.
So he's trying to manipulate to being a happy family, but in hindsight, they're not.
Yeah, like, imagine being worried about saying the wrong thing because you're gonna get whooped when you were a kid. And I remember they were talking about starvation that would happen.
Yeah.
So the Bible was used as a weapon against them because of their religious background, and they were pushed downstairs, choked, beaten with belts, put in dog kennels. And as I was saying, this is the point when the one daughter escaped.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, they believed she was special needs because she wasn't properly developed.
Mm-hmm.
And so they just brought her back thinking that, oh, your handicapped daughter has wandered off.
Yeah.
In 2006, the kids were locked in a trailer behind their home.
Yep.
The parents would go and party and drink, get into sexual escapades, and once a week they would drop off some groceries.
Yep.
But the groceries were not enough to last a week. Jordan was talking to a special reporter on Dateline or something like that, and she remembers being so hungry that she ate leaves and grass.
Yep.
Like, can you imagine being that hungry? Like, I wouldn't know what leaves I can eat, what leaves I
No.
can. So I guess you're hungry. You're like, if I throw up, I throw up, right? So David got a new job in aerospace, and he moved the family to California. And this is where I'm going to make the tag to you.
Thank you very much. So, obviously, I'm going to go into detail about more, obviously, what was happening. But yeah, after obviously Dave got the new job, is Louise, she began to have a shopping habit. So basically, he would get paid, she would go out and just spend and spend and spend and spend and spend, and till the point where, do you know what I mean? There's just no money left. Now she would buy new clothes, new toys, and new games. You know, like kids' toys and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But apparently,
so the kids got some toys to play with.
No, but that's the thing is, they were never actually allowed to use these things. You know what I mean? So you've got like basically loads of toys, loads of things in the wardrobes, but they can't touch them. So I'm like, what was the point of this?
It's almost like taunting them.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's like, yeah, you can taunting them and stuff like that. So because of all this actual, incident, David was obviously forced to file for bankruptcy, which meant they had to cut back, obviously, certain things. But unfortunately, instead of cutting back as a family, they cut back specifically, more for the kids.
Yeah.
Now, I'm just write my notes here a second. Bear with us.
I believe that the one thing that they cut back was the regular meals for the kids. They were now forced to live off of peanut butter.
That's correct. So the sandwich, yep. So the sandwiches obviously they were replaced with peanut butter, but weirdly, David and Louise would have a 3-course meal, which was obviously made by what was described as their captives and stuff like that. And this is how sick and twisted these individuals were. Is they would like make a cake, like a special type of cake, and they would leave it obviously on the side, and it's like tormenting the kids. Do you know what I mean? To a point.
Yeah. Imagine being starving, and this beautiful cake is sitting there, and you can't touch it because you're going to get in big trouble, and you're paying. You're going to be shackled if you don't.
Yeah. So
the cake would rot rather than the kids touch it.
There you go. So that's just torture in a way. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, that's extreme torture.
Now, neighbors apparently would report that they would see kids digging through, the trash for stuff like that. But apparently, this was never actually followed up on. So people saw kids digging through trash, but yet it was never reported.
So the reason they were digging through the trash was because if someone threw away food, that's an extra meal.
Absolutely. It's really, I could not get my head around as to how 13 kids, actually, was able to like basically hide in, because I remember you saying in the intro that it was just a normal street. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't even begin to imagine, what that was like,
Yeah, and I believe that they made them strange hours. They almost made them nocturnal.
Yeah, so a lot of people obviously online were asking, well, how did they get away with it for so long? So the key thing, obviously, our character just said there is they were nocturnal, so they would obviously be awake during the night, and everybody else would be asleep. And it's kind of like, doing it like that.
Yeah, their bedtime was 4:30 a.m.
Yep. Now, obviously, the idea, I think that what the parents wanted to do was keep the kids from inside, so nobody could obviously, talk to them. Hence the reason, obviously, they registered, school. Like the staying at home school?
Yeah.
Now, so there was pretty sneaky. I'm not going to deny this. Do you know what I mean? There was pretty sneaky, pretty, sneaky.
Deceitful. Deceitful, I think, is a good word.
That is very, very good. Very good word. Now, obviously, there was times when, obviously, David and Louise would go out to do whatever they would do, and the whole house would, like, come alive, if you know what I mean? Like, they would, like, yes, freedom, in a sense.
Yeah, but I'd be afraid to be caught doing stuff.
That is true. So, obviously, when David and Louise was out, they began to obviously, live a little. Obviously, they used to watch videos online. Now, Jordan Turpin, obviously, we'll talk about her later on. She became so fascinated, obviously, with Justin Bieber. Do you know about what it's like on the outside? This was probably one of the reasons why she did what she did. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, it also said that their parents, she got caught watching a Justin Bieber video, and her parents basically they strangled her to a point where she thought she was going to die and stuff like that.
Yeah. This is important because Louise Turpin had strangled her so bad.
Yep.
And it made her crave. It made sometimes the bad stuff that happens to you is for your own good. So if that hadn't happened to her, I don't know if she would have had the balls to escape.
Well, that's the other thing as well, is she began posting what was described as secret videos online, hoping that somebody would actually see her. Now, weirdly, somebody did, and the first thing they questioned was, how come you're only online at certain times, and how come it's always dark? Now, I can't remember if it was Louise or Jordan who did this, but I think it was Jordan. But she basically opened up saying what's going off and stuff like that. Now, this person who she was talking to, her mother basically gave her what was described as the final push to say, okay, let's do something. So I feel like combining seeing the Justin Bieber thing and obviously, being not push, but helped, on what to do. I feel like that kind of helped, get her pushed.
Yeah, it's like, to me, Jordan has this amazing spirit inside of her.
Yep.
Like, she's the hero of the whole story.
She is. And like I said, I mean, I've got nothing but respect for her because it's thanks to her. And obviously, I've got an update, obviously, what it's like today for her. But it's thanks to her being so brave that she saved, not only one person, but, 13. And then obviously 2 people's now in, obviously, jail.
Yeah, she saved 12 of her brothers and sisters.
There you go. So I'm going to show you, obviously, an image. And I'm obviously going into detail about it. So this is this one right here. So this is when obviously Louise and obviously David obviously like renewed their vows. Now the weird thing is apparently according to this image, obviously everybody looks so uncomfortable and don't know what to do. But
yeah, you can see how the placement of their arms.
Yep. Do you see that?
Yeah.
And obviously the thing is, it's like they're kind of like on edge, like not knowing what to do, and I just it
yeah, they're dancing like this.
Yeah, the sad thing is like it's really sad. Do you know what I mean? Just the whole story.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, there's so much on this story, to cover. It's really, really, weird.
Yeah. What happened next?
So, obviously, we're going to talk about what happened, while they're in jail. So, the Turpins were charged with 12 counts of torture, 12 counts of false imprisonment, 7 counts of abuse of dependent adult, and 6 counts of child abuse. Davey received an extra additional charge for a lewd act on a child under 14. And obviously, he was obviously charged on the basically forgery thing when it comes to the school thing.
Yeah, I find it interesting that he gets. I think they got 25 years.
That's correct. So
I
originally,
think they should have got 29 years because that's the age of the oldest daughter. That they ruined her life for 29 years.
that is true. So originally, they obviously, pleaded not guilty, and stuff like that. But February 2019, they actually, I think they knew in their own head that, what's going to happen?
Yeah. I remember the mother crying, and she said, these children will never know how much I love them. And that's very true because you never told them.
There you go. Now, the interesting thing is they obviously got 25 years, which is the same punishment as a killer, weirdly.
Yeah, the murderer gets that same charge in California.
So, I mean, now you'd think with everything what's obviously going off here, they would obviously have chance at recovery. Unfortunately not. Now,
When I heard this part, I was just, my heart sunk.
Now, unfortunately, obviously the older children were still living in the squalor. They were still struggling. It was like in the same predicament when they were with the parents, but the parents not there. That's probably the best way to describe it. Now, the young ones, obviously, the younger Turpins actually went into foster with I can't pronounce their names, but it's Olgeens. I think I said that right.
The Olgies, I think.
Something along them lines, yeah. Now, apparently, these were just as nasty as the Turpins was. Now we're talking force. I'm just going to read a couple out because there's too many to name, but force fed till they vomit, then made to eat the vomit, sleeping pills and sprayed with water, and let's just say Ludax again. Shall we just go with that?
Yes, there was sexual abuse by the father of the foster parents.
Now, after this incident, obviously the older Turpins, the older brothers and sisters, obviously now are taking this seriously now because it's like, how have they been able to, slip through the cracks? Because now this is two families.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, this is one thing you can say about obviously, specifically Jordan. Do you know what I mean? She's a fighter, and I think you've said that best.
Yeah. I want to mention something that happened at the trial is that they got to speak against their own parents.
Some of them did, but some of them obviously didn't want to.
Yeah, and like some of them, there's I'm taking back my life, and that was really encouraging.
It was, and obviously I mentioned that I've obviously done a bit more research on this. So do you want to see what Jordan Turpin looks like today?
Yes, please.
And there you go.
She's beautiful.
She is, and I've got a question for you, and I want you to be truthfully honest. How do you think, on all seriousness, do you think she's coping with everything what's gone off?
I hope she's doing okay.
Okay, so I'll read the quote. Obviously, what she said. I tried to get myself to eat. Turpin Candide continued. Then I started to do makeup, but I cry. So I have to do it over. Then I try to do a TikTok, but I'm like, oh, people are going to say this and that about me. Then maybe I should get some air. I'm going to go outside. Then I cry again. So even 5 years now, she's still struggling. It's really sad.
That's years and years of therapy for years and years of trauma.
Yep. I mean, I wish I could have some good news to say about this, but the only good news I can say, and I think we're getting to knowledge is power for this.
So yeah, they also sued the state of California for the putting the kids into foster care.
The sad thing is, when you actually think about it, it's the laws obviously failed in so many ways with this story.
Yeah.
I mean, I think JP just said it quite best. This is going to take decades of massive therapy to see the light. I mean, it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, have you got anything to add on that before we do the next segment?
It's just if you have any suspicions about someone being abused, then just if you're wrong, who cares? Just this is someone's life.
Exactly. I was going to do knowledge's power, but I think we just basically talk directly, I think you've just said it best there. I don't think knowledge's power is necessary now.
No, I don't think so. I think it's fine without it.
I feel like I said, I mean, Jordan Turpin, it's thanks to you that, do you know what I mean? The brave escape you obviously did save.
To me, inspiration.
Yep.
Inspiration of the human spirit.
Absolutely. It's thanks to you, obviously, that you took that daring escape, do you know what I mean? To go out there, bearing in mind everything you've been through, and save the lives, obviously, your brothers and sisters. I mean, hats off, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Very, very proud of her.
Very proud. And I think that's the good thing we can really end on, do you know what I mean? It's thanks to her that she can live a normal life now, do you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, I mean, what we got?
I think we can give our sponsors, and we can kind of end the show.
Okay, so what we got coming up for this week? So tomorrow we're going to be testing the expert's knowledge. You all right there?
Sorry, I had a little bit here. Gets me choked up. Go ahead.
So tomorrow we're going to be testing the expert's knowledge. So I've got a list of questions to see if he knows his stuff like he does. I mean, the guy's very knowledgeable.
Yes, he killed it in the trivia, but I think if I got Haney as my partner, I think I could do well.
Interesting. So maybe that's for the next one. What have we got Sunday?
We are going to be talking about the deaths that WWE refused to acknowledge, even though these were past stars of theirs.
So this was quite surprising because I remember reading it and I'm like, oh shit, I actually forgot about that one myself.
Yeah, there's quite a few. Like, it's surprising.
Definitely. So yeah, I mean, if you guys want to follow us on obviously on any all social medias, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on YouTube, we're actually on Twitch now as well. Weirdly.
Oh yes, we are on Twitch. We got some AEW Fight Forever to be doing between me and Jeremy.
There you go. And if you want a t-shirt, I mean, we've got loads of t-shirts. You can head to prowrestlingtees.com/effing wrestling. You can get yourself the All Effing Wrestling shirt, which is modeled by a friend of the show. I'm sure you know this person, right?
This is Natalia Marcola, my buddy.
And of course, Canada Dry, tell them all about the old school.
Yes, if you like old school wrestling, we have Adrian Adonis' shirt. Show the shirt. And this is something that we came up with. And we actually run his t-shirt store. So you can visit prowrestlingtees.com/Adrian Adonis.
And it's coming up very, very soon, the Dark Side of the Ring episode.
And we will be doing, like as I mentioned earlier in Galaxy News, we're doing an after episode to kind of talk about what we just watched.
There you go. So I think that pretty much wraps up anything. So Canada Dry, take us out to the outro.
Sometimes in life can be downright horrific.
Mm-hmm.
And just like Jordan, you have to rise up. And just like she did, you have to just keep fighting.
So, what do you want to talk about this week?
I'd like to talk about conversations.
Are you good at conversations?
I'm pretty good at conversations, but sometimes they just don't work out.
And why is that? Why don't they work out?
Okay, I'll give you for instance. Like, so I was talking to this guy, and it was going really good. We're really flowing back and forth. You know, it takes the good flow back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really liking this guy. I feel like we agreed on a lot of stuff.
Okay.
And then it was like we were on a train and we're enjoying the scenery. And all of a sudden he starts talking about racist stuff. It's like a train. Toot toot, next stop racism.
Choo choo.